Good evening to the instructor who have been given this task to us and my fellow panelists. First of all, I really appreciate that you guys are spending your wonderful evening by participating in this forum. Now we are here with some great panelists. Let me introduce them one by one. First of all, we have Mr. Amekaizan. Secondly, Mr. Fakiuddin. And then Mr. Fareshami. Well, the sky was ablaze with the fire of the setting sun, so we move straight over to our topic without wasting our precious time. Today we are going to talk about Thaipusam, which is one of the cultural heritage of Indo. What is Thaipusam, Mr. Kaizan?
Okay, Assalamualaikum and very good morning, evening to moderator Mr. Shavin and also to other panelists Mr. Fakiuddin and Mr. Farid Shahmi for giving me an opportunity to speak a little bit about Thai Pusam Festival. Thai Pusam is a holy festival which is celebrated by the Indo-Tamil community on the full moon in the Tamil month of Thai, January, February, usually coinciding with Pusha star known as Pusam in Tamil. Thaipusam commemorates the feast of the Hindu deity Lord Subramaniam, son of Lord Shiva and goddess Shakti. According to the Hindu mythological book Skanda Purana, Thaipusam was the day when Lord Subramaniam appeared before his devotees mounted on the peacock, which has come to be known as a Vahana, or vehicle. It also acknowledges Subramanian's triumph over the evil forces. The devas or celestial beings at the one time were so plagued by asura or demons that they pleaded with Lord Shiva to help them. Touched by their pleas, Lord Shiva sent his son Subramaniam to conquer the asura. After accomplishing this task, the victorious Subramania was believed to have appear before his devotees. In the vision, he was bedecked with brilliant jewels, armed with a golden spear, and seated on the chariot. Thus, on the festival day, Lord Subramaniam's statue will be adorned and decorated. It's placed on gold and silver chariot before his devotees. This is then taken in a procession. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kaizan, for the explanation about the origin of Thaipusam. I'm really amazed by the information that are given by you just now. Actually, Thaipusam is not only celebrated in India, but also in countries where there are major concentration of Tamils, such as Malaysia and Singapore. The Thaipusam celebration in Malaysia is in fact one of the major religious festivals in the country. It is also the biggest amongst the country that celebrate Thaipusam. Usually the celebration will be held at Batu Caves, Kuala Lumpur, Hilltop Murugan Temple, Penang, Kallumalai Temple in Perak, and Sri Subramanian Temple at Sungai Petani Kedah. So, Mr. Fake, do you know anything about Thaipusam?
Yes, I know a little bit about the Kavadi.
Wow, interesting, Mr. Fake. Could you tell us more about Kavariyatam? We are really eager to listen about it.
Alright, Assalamualaikum and good evening. Thank you to the moderator, Mr. Shavin, and all the panelists. My name is Fakiuddin. Today I will explain about one of the part in Thaipusam Festival, which is Kavadi or Kavadi Atom. Kavadi Atom or Kavadi Dance is a ceremonial act of devotional sacrifice through dance, food offering, and bodily self-mortification. It is often performed by devotees during the festival of Thaipusam in honor of Murugan. The kavadi is semicircular, decorate canopy supported by wooden rod that the pilgrim carries on their shoulder to the temple. The devotees make the pilgrimage with bare feet, bearing food offering on the kavadi.
So, Mr. Fake, can you tell us about the types of kavadi that you have known?
Uh, there are a few types of kavadi, uh, which is idumban kavadi, which is pot filled with meat and suspended on rod carry on the shoulder. Second is mayil kavadi, similar to idumban kavadi, except that it is decorated with peacock feather. Uh, Next is pal kavadi, metal pot filled with milk and carry on one side of the shoulder only. Last, pushpa kavadi, pot filled with milk and carry on the head.
Wow, Damn. So, there are four types of kavadis, which are Iduman kavadi, Mayil kavadi, Fall kavadi, and then Pushpa kavadi. Thank you, Mr. Fake, for the details about kavadi. So, can we hear from Mr. Fares anything about Taipusam related?
Yeah, sure, Mr. Sharvin. Assalamualaikum and very good evening. Thank you to the moderator, Mr. Sharvin, and all the panelists that come today in this Golden Opportunity Forum. Let me talk about the attire that devotees and visitors must wear during Thaipusam festival. All devotees and visitors must wear proper decent dress. Yellow and orange are the preferable colors for Lord Murugan. T-shirt displaying Saravanabhava symbol can be used. Kavadi bearers should not dress up like Munishwaran, Madurai Viran, Kali, Katari, or other Kaval Devam or Kula Devam. For male devotees, it is compulsory to wear the dhoti. Male devotees who are bearing the kavadi should not wear shirt despite they can cover their chest with Rudraksha mala. Men also may shave their head and beard before proceeding to the temple. Women who bear the kavadi must wear the sari or the Punjabi dress in yellow or orange color. Women must tie their hair and should not let loose their long hair while praying at the temple. Women in their menstrual period should not bear any kavadi or pal kudam. Next, mal- male devotees can wear the Rudraksha mala to cover their bare body. Devotees can wear the vibhuti, the white holy ash, sandal pads, and kumkum as per the Shaivite tradition. After completing all the rituals at the temple, the Ratha bearing Lord Murugan will start out from the temple. Once the Ratha's procession is completed, the devotees can remove the kapu and proper dress code for the other devotees and visitors.
Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Fares. So, is there anything else you know about Taipusam, Mr. Fares?
Yeah, Thaipusam is a time of great fasting and intense penance. It is more about food for the soul rather than food for the body. With over a million spectators paying Thaipusam a visit, how will one endure to hear if it weren't for occasional syrup and orange juice along the way?
Thanks, Mr. Fares, for the information about traditional attires and foods during Taipusam. Well. Mr. Kaizan, why do you think that this cultural heritage is still important or relevant to the younger generations?
Thanks, Mr. Sharvin, to allow me to speak again. In my opinion, this tradition is able to open the eyes of the public about living in a peaceful society as well as giving birth to a spirit of love for their religion that is celebrated together. The Thaipusam tradition is becoming more obscure because it is not too exposed to younger generation. This situation is very worrying because the younger generation does not appreciate the heritage of the festival Thaipusam. This festival is still celebrated by the community today, but many changes have occurred in the term of the activity in carried out, and there are differences with the tradition of the ancestor. By exposing the cultural heritage, I am confident that the younger generation can understand and get to know more closely the cultural heritage of the Thaipusam festival, which turns out to be beautiful and interesting to live. The young generation needs to know the purpose of this festival. The first leaf, Thaipusam festival is a day of fulfilling vows and atonement or asking for forgiveness for sin committed. In addition, the younger generation needs to know how this festival is celebrated. For example, the ceremony of carrying white color milk, which is considered holy, will be carried on the head and taken to Lord Morgan. Finally, they need to know the kavadi will be carried on the shoulder or head for the applicant who wants sin to be forgiven. Various way of self torture to show that they are asking for forgiveness. This kind of step is able to revive the spirit of young people about this cultural heritage, which is getting eroded and is also able to attract more young generation to come celebrate and elevate the Thaipusam festival. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Kaizan. I really appreciate it. So, Mr. Fares, how we can cultivate the interest of the younger generation to preserve this cultural heritage?
Thank you, Mr. Sharvin. Cultural preservation simply means the act of maintaining ancient culture, whether it's of large nations or small indigenous tribes. It can be done by researching and studying languages, restoring historic artifacts found that are significant to its culture or heritage, and encouraging the preservation and use of languages or rituals symbolic to them. An integrated education strategy is essential today to express the value of cultural heritage. Encourage cultural heritage preservation by education. It is a strategy for preserving both tangible and intangible cultural heritage. Although it seems like the most obvious thing to do, this doesn't happen enough due to the lack of awareness, causing not only culture but also traditions and languages to eventually cease to exist.
So, Mr. Faris, what are the measures that can be taken?
It simply starts with awareness. A nation is able to preserve their culture and heritage through introducing it into education. Teaching the future generations the importance of their culture and heritage should not encourage and guardedly safely through knowledge. Another another importance of preserving one's heritage and culture is the knowledge of it being passed down from one generation to the next. The value of this is extremely important for the minority groups, but the bigger nations as well. If people continue to let heritage and culture die out, the future generations become less dynamic. We should not instead learn from this perspective and knowledge accumulated over generations. Who knows? They might help us solve our current problems. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fares, for the information and suggestions. Hope it may help to cultivate the interest of the younger generation to preserve this cultural heritage. Mr. Fake, could you tell us what are the impacts of this cultural heritage to the economy and to the tourism sector to our country?
All right. Thank you again, Mr. Shavin. Thaipusam Festival has a great impact on the economy and tourism sector in Malaysia. This festival is an attraction for tourists to come to Malaysia. This is due to the uniqueness of the culture and celebration held before the festival. In addition, the unique of the temple is also the focus of tourists from all over the world. For example, Batu Cave has become a focal point for tourists from all over the country. Economic and tourism sector impact rising from tourism development in Batu Cave, Gombak, among other. It create a new job as a trader around the location of Batu Cave. Many of them sell souvenir ingredient for prayer of Hindu, snack, and those who open restaurant with delicious and affordable price. There are various traditional foods such as tosai, idli, vadai, and sun. Thus, increasing the income of the community and can increase the income of the people around Batu Cave. With the development of the tourism in Batu Cave, makes the people more creative and in making unique and interesting souvenir. That's they are also required to master several language in order to communicate easier with traveler who come to visit.
Well done,
Tra-
Mr. Fake. Great, it's really great. I wish that this cultural heritage will be practiced by the future generations. If we teach cultural heritage such as Thaipusam to the future generations, they will immediately begin to gain appreciation for their culture and to the culture of the world around them. Future generations may have found themselves wondering in the past where we all come from, what those people before us were like, what they did for fun. These types of questions guide future generations to look inward and also to look forward. As human beings, we don't want to be forgotten once we are gone. Future generations also will be inspired to create and learn stories from the past did before us. Our future generation will benefit from learning this information because they will be able to carry forward with them to the cultural heritage that they loved and cherished. To conclude, today we have been talked about the origin of Taibusam, which is Kavadi, traditional attires and food that served to devotees during Taipusam. The younger generations can understand and get to know more closely the cultural heritage of the Taipusam festival. We also talked about how to cultivate the interest of the younger generations, preserve this cultural heritage and measures that can be taken, which can be done by researching and studying languages. Prehistoric history artifacts found that are significant to its cultural heritage and encouraging the preservation and use of language or rituals symbolic to them and teaching to the future generations the importance of their cultural and heritage should be encouraged and guarded safely through knowledge. Lastly, this cultural heritage gives impact to the economy and also to the tourism sector in our country to develop in such areas Batikif Gomba district Selangor, Malaysia. Among others, create new jobs as traders around the locations of Batikif also. This festival is a celebration rich with meaning and tradition. It is also on that even a non-Indian person may consider joining in. We ourselves have done work with the family of a friend, and thousands of tourists come to Malaysia just experience it as well. It will be undoubtedly birth within you a deep respect for the complete devotion Hindus hold for their religions and give you a little perspective in life. Thank you guys for the wonderful evening with talking about this topic. I really appreciate it. Hope this cultural heritage will be preserved and then followed by future generation. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Shavin.
And
Thank you, Mr.
thank you, Mr.
Shavin.
Sharvin.